Welcome to another episode of The Sit Down, brought to you by Black Room. I'm your host for the evening, Cameron. I'm a current psychology junior, and these are my guests for the evening, starting with my right.
Hello, I'm Julio Taku, business manager at Stoneybrook Press.
My name is Tumashe Akinfale, and I'm a journalism major.
My name is Catherine Heredia. I'm a journalism major.
My name is Esther, and I'm president of Black Road.
And my name is Titus Woodham. I'm a psychology major with a marketing concentration.
And our topic for tonight will be based on the most recent Kanye documentary called Jeen-yuhs, a Kanye Trilogy. It starts off looking at his early stage of producing and kind of developing as a overall entertainer, musician, rapper, and so much more. And really what his kind of struggles and successes to reach the heights that we know Kanye to be at. My first question for tonight was kind of like what you kind of take from it. I know I took it as inspirational in a way, but I kind of want to see like what you guys are thinking.
I'll jump in. Basically, what I got from the documentary as a whole, like all three parts, I basically saw how being in the public eye can change a person. Like we saw, like when Kanye was more of a background compliment to the music, like when he was just making beats and he was just around, like he was getting his credits, his name was in like fine print on the back of albums and stuff. When that was happening, there was like you saw a certain type of like hunger in him. Like there was just like, he always wanted to prove himself. And you also saw that once he finally received the accolades that he was chasing, what he was always looking for, it kind of changed him like fundamentally, like how he behaved from that point on. So yeah, just what I got from it is fame can really, it can bring out the best and worst in a person.
Well, I kind of want to like go further into like what like the changes that we kind of saw from that. As to like he was still kind of arrogant in a way, or at least had some bit of an ego. Do you guys see like it was like a drastic difference from what you see at certain award shows now, or is it just like, oh, okay, I kind of get where that kind of comes from?
I think we definitely saw like the seeds of who he is today, because if you saw his relationship with his mother, Donda West, it definitely was one where she was his biggest fan, his biggest cheerleader, his biggest supporter. His confidence wouldn't be anywhere near what it is today without that. And his story is very much, to me, a cautionary tale, because he's almost like Icarus, who flew too close to the sun and then his wax wings melted, and we've kind of seen him in a free fall since the passing of his mother. And some people see that as like a crutch, like blaming all of what he's done on his mother passing. But in seeing that documentary, you see how essential and how much of a linchpin she was in his life. She was his everything, like his sun, moon, stars, the whole thing. So for him to lose her in the fashion that he did, him introducing her to a lifestyle they never knew, and then her trying to enjoy the spoils of that, passing away on the operating bed after trying to get a cosmetic enhancement or plastic surgery, that never would have happened if they had stayed in Chicago. That never would have happened if he introduced her to those things. So I think he not only felt remorse for her having passed, probably away from his purview, he didn't witness it, he wasn't there with her, but he probably also felt guilt for it. She reinforced that he was talented, he was great, and all these things. So you remove her from the picture in the fashion that she was phased out, God rest her, and there was nobody there to check him. She was the one person who was able to check him. Even his friend Coodie, who was responsible for all the footage of the documentary, he wasn't able to really like touch Kanye or access him after he won his first Grammy. You saw, or rather you didn't see, the phase between like 2000, I want to say 6, 7, until like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then you had what came after that? You had, I think it was Yeezus then Life of Pablo, or vice versa. There was a big, it was Yeezus then Life of Pablo. We had a big block of time where Kanye went through a whole lot, and Coodie wasn't there.
Yeah, we didn't see none.
And the footage we did see was Coodie's family. That's what filled that gap. And you saw how Coodie went through like dealing with losing a friend and then eventually regaining a friend, but not the same person he knew. So I think Genius is very much a cautionary tale of just the heights you can reach, but then also acknowledging how far you can fall once you get to that precipice.
Yeah, and the importance of guidance, because I feel the confidence at the beginning wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was coming from a place of like, I'm gifted, I can do a lot with what I have, and his mom was there to support him. But like you said, fame changes that. The industry, I guess it tries to make you prove yourself, and you're never enough, and maybe Kanye in a way fell into that, and yeah, just having to always do more. I'm trying to think of there was a specific scene, but I'm blanking out right now, so.
Was it early on in the doc or later on?
It was towards the end.
Was it with his mother?
No, but I mean, back to the mother thing, like by the 3rd episode, I feel like the tone of the documentary is pretty sad. Like the people he's
very
with,
much so.
A lot of the meetings, they just feel very superficial.
And how they cut some of the footage because he started going off the rails, and he was like, yeah, I can't show Kanye to the world in this state. Yeah.
So very much missing that like genuine love and support his mom had, and the stuff you saw from the first episode.
Touching on what both of you said with the kind of support that he had, and then seeing once he didn't have that support, how off the rails he kind of was. There was a specific scene where Donda was talking to Kanye about being a giant, where your head's in the clouds and you kind of see all the goals and dreams that you want to, but your feet are grounded. Kind of just touching on what support kind of means for not only Kanye, but you kind of see like other celebrities once they kind of don't have the right support around them, what could happen. Kind of how important is support, do you think, in terms of just reaching this mega stardom for you guys?
I think to expand on what she said, she also said, remember when the giant looks in the mirror, he sees nothing. And that's a much larger metaphor, and that was a very prescient point in the documentary, to the point where it was used in the trailer, because people don't really think of that. If you're viewing the giant, you're like, oh my lord, they're larger than life. They've got their head in the clouds, they've got their feet onto the ground, so they're grounded. So there's like 3 metaphors wrapped in one with that. But the point of the giant looking in the mirror and seeing nothing, that was one that made me sit back and be like, well, damn, that's something I think a lot of us can identify with, because we might get all the praise and the accolades for the things we're good at. We know our abilities, we know how quote unquote good we are, but sometimes you sit with yourself and you're like, I don't know, man, maybe I'm not all that, and you start to doubt yourself. And the giant looking in the mirror and seeing nothing is exactly that. So he had the support system that was his mother, and I think he was so hyper fixated on his mother being his main source of support and the most consistent form of support he had, that he wasn't able to realize and see and appreciate people like Coodie, who were always there. Not only there, but there with a camera and a smile. helping him out with everything and anything he could. He was there for, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure if Coodie was there. I think he was there for the funeral. Like, he made sure to show up for Kanye when it really mattered. From the very beginning when he was hocking mixtapes to when he was at his first like radio broadcast show and all these other like milestones early in Kanye's career, Coodie and his mom were the most consistent thing there. Even more consistent than his own damn teeth, because you saw what happened with the car accident. And Coodie was there when he was getting the braces taken out. Like, that's real. That's real. You only go to such appointments with people that you care about and trust, and who care about and trust you. So Kanye had a very like strong support system. He just neglected those that were outside of his mother. And then to speak to celebrity and just what it takes to get up there and that kind of support, I'm gonna leave that to y'all, because Kanye had it. He just didn't know exactly how to appreciate it at the time.
But also the documentary, I mean, there could have been more people too besides Coodie and his
Of
mom.
course, those are the ones we saw.
Yeah, just as a side note.
I mean, you even saw like the group of like specific Chicago rappers too.
That's true.
I kind of wanted, like, looking back at his younger years, like what do you think he could have like done differently, if he could have done differently? Anything to like not be playing his songs randomly in offices, and, or was that just like he needed to do what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think every step of the process was crucial.
Mm-hmm.
It was all necessary. Like, even leading up to the MTV You Hear It First thing,
Mm-hmm.
like that only happened because of his initiative in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, he was always, anybody that was around him, they knew that he rapped. And
Yeah,
he didn't
anybody
just
with
leave it.
ears.
Anybody. He was not quiet about it at all. Like, oh, I just rap from this. He was not like that at all. He really showcased himself. Like, he always put himself out there. So for that, I feel like that level of bravery, or just like belief in yourself,
Self-advocacy.
it was very important to getting him where he's at today. So I think he played his cards right in the beginning, definitely.
Like, I feel like everything, like, we could appreciate him even though we may not necessarily agree.
Yeah, we ain't
with
gotta
everything.
condone some of the things he does.
But
yeah.
I mean,
But back then, he was pretty humble and like, he had a good head on his
He was at least the underdog.
Yeah.
He was at least the underdog. That's easy to root for. Once he became like the absolute champion, so to speak, he then started to feel himself even more, and then some people started to fall out of favor with him because it's like, dog, you.
I'm just thinking about like fame in general and how, I guess, I don't know, how Kanye is a perfect example of like how people react when you get somewhere. You know what I mean? There's a lot of celebrities now that like, once they get somewhere, like society and people in general like turn on them. And I'm not saying like Kanye doesn't have, like, there's no reason to turn on Kanye because he's done some,
He's given us plenty.
yeah, crazy stuff. But it makes me realize how just like society loves rooting for an underdog until they're not. You know?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like when you start getting mad at people for knowing this small town artist you once saw at like Brooklyn Steel for $25, but now their tickets are $2,500 on resale, and you're like, man, I wish they sold out. They became different. Dog, do you not want your favorite artist to succeed? I would love for my favorite artist tickets to damn near be unattainable by me. That means they've reached a level of success that is just insane, and I would just hope to grow as a person along with the artist, so I can then afford the tickets, and if I can't, I'll cop the album. Like, it is what it is.
Salute either way, man. Salute either way. I feel like, aside from Kanye, since like part of this discussion is just celebrities in general, I would say another another artist that kind of was like, I wouldn't say a similar path, but like you see how fame also changed them drastically, but like in totally different ways. I would say Tyler, the Creator, just because, just because like, cause I used to listen to Tyler, like I was really an Odd Future
Way
fan.
back.
Like I was a
You had
really,
the taco socks and all that,
Bro.
the t-shirt.
I wanted it, but my parents wasn't getting it for me. Bro.
Got a
I wanted
skateboard
that
just
thing
because.
So bad. But nah, I used to listen to him when he was just like this like shock value rapper. And
Angsty
he'd like
teen.
say the most outlandish shit.
Yup.
Just cause he was, that's how he was feeling, like, oh, I'm gonna do this alter ego where I'm a serial killer now, like
Yup.
shit like that. And then like as time went on, like you saw like as his songs got more popular, as he got more popular, he grew in front of us.
Mm-hmm. And
Like-
he grew out of those old habits.
And I don't know who was around him, or if he had like a support group that he listened to, or if that was just personal work that he did, but like it just goes to show that like fame doesn't automatically corrupt. Like it can
Mhm.
actually give you an outlet to work on yourself, and now
Absolutely.
everyone's looking at you, and you have a responsibility to your fans.
But does that happen often? That's
No,
the question.
no.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people fumble their celebrity status, hard.
Daniel Caesar. Why'd you say that, bro? Why'd you say that? Why'd you say that? You had great albums. You still make good music. You just had to defend that
Why
white
did
woman.
you say
She didn't
that?
even call your name.
Why
She's
did
probably
you
just
say
fine
that?
now. They didn't take a single picture of you at the Grammys, dog. We saw the video.
Yeah, now I'm quick.
Bro, didn't he have like a hoodie on, or I'm tweaking?
Yeah, when he got on stage, but when he was like on the red carpet, he was dapper
Oh,
down.
he changed. He's like,
And nobody took a picture
Oh
of him.
yeah, I saw that.
Not one snap. He said, cancel me. Why would you ask for that? Why?
Wasn't he drunk too?
Yes, he was on Instagram Live. Put the phone down, celebrities, please. Jesus. Terrible support group.
That one, do you think like that was always who he was, or do you think just because Daniel Caesar got to that heights?
Sadly, that's who he was, dog. I'm convinced that's who he is.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that's who he is. It's just we saw it there, and it was the wrong time.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the
like
camera
that.
because if you see this,
You watching?
bro, I'm a fan, but you did bad.
Put
You
me
did
on.
terrible. You did put me on. It's
Put me on,
hilarious.
though. I ain't gonna lie. I mean,
He had locks and then he cut them, dog.
yeah, he did too much, man. He did too much. I feel like, but that's another thing though, because certain artists get away with that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like Travis Scott said a couple of things already.
The Baby did too. ASAP Rocky did
Oh
too.
my God, the baby.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's-
The baby.
But one thing I will note right now, we're not gonna use this as an opportunity to just bring down black celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Cause some of y'all other celebrities.
not what this is for.
Yeah, y'all do a lot. So if we're gonna talk fame and everything, let's not make it exclusive to just the black community.
Do you-
'Cause we exist in it, but we don't exclusively pay attention to
Based
just
on that, also, like, do you feel like certain artists kind of know, like, oh, if I entertain my like certain audience,
Mhm.
you know, it doesn't.
I was just gonna say, like, apart from artists in general, especially comedians, like, because
Louis C.K., Tom Segura, Amy Schumer.
And because it's comedy, you can't be
Ha 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 ha! It's a
canceled.
joke.
Yeah,
It's a
it's like-
joke.
they
Dog.
try to exist in this like bubble where it's like
The
you
First
ever-
Amendment is very fragile.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
It's very fragile.
Y'all remember that kid that like y'all be playing like tag or something, or like some crazy game, and they'd be like, oh, force field. That's every comedian on stage.
Or like mid game, they're like, no tag back, no tag backs. Dog, what do you mean?
They put that force field up. They're like, I'm gonna say whatever I want.
Dog, we're already in the middle of the game. Like,
I'm
you can't be a
saying.
grown adult and have lived as long as you did and seen comedy like just blossom to the point where you're now in the industry and think that you're impervious to any kind of criticism and potentially being physically harmed, dog. There's no way. There is
crazy.
no way. If you've ever been in the schoolyard and you made your mama jokes, you knew at any point if you pushed it too far, you could get checked right in your mouth.
But that's another pitfall of
Keep
fame that like comes with specifically the genre of comedy. Like specifically by being a comedian, a lot of people lose their like common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gets to a point because If you like look at any interviews with comedians, like they've been funny their whole life. Like they've been
Yeah.
making jokes their whole life. Like they
At a certain point, they start
clown.
punching down though.
Exactly.
They no longer make themselves the joke or the punchline. They're not making observations. They're just being mean.
Once they start making money for being funny, and once they try that one joke that they think is a little over the line, and it still gets them the
There's a market for
reaction,
that, yeah.
Yeah.
they just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
1 inch mile.
But at
Yep.
the same time, like, yeah, they don't have common sense and they deserve, like, they're getting checked, but they still keep, like, they're not actually gonna get, well, depending on who you are, but you're like, if
Louis
you're
C.K.
one-
just won a
Yeah,
Grammy, so
that's what I'm saying.
are there any real?
Real-
Yes, he got a Grammy. There are no repercussions.
Right, what he
What song is
Comedy,
Louis
comedy
C.K.?
is a whole category in Grammys. There's so many Grammys that aren't aired on national, on like the
Yeah, that's
actual
true. They don't air
show. He
it.
won a Grammy, and y'all want
Wow.
to take Will's Oscar away.
So that's what I'm
Don't
saying,
get me
like,
started.
are
White
there really
America.
repercussions?
Don't get me
Depends on who you are.
started.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Being a white man in America, it's like you play tag and that one kid be like, "Ace."
Literally, that's a perfect analogy though. Cause like,
White privilege is the
Tag
base.
metaphors.
for real, we playing global tag.
I'm
Some
saying.
people are it, some people are frozen.
The world is a playground, though. The world is a playground.
Some people just
play
got-
hide and seek.
Some people got big toys, some people got little toys, no toys.
Some people aren't allowed to go to recess.
Word. That's real. That's so real. Some people can't go to
school.
recess.
It's
For real.
man. I don't know. Y'all gonna figure it out.
I just lace up your shoes if you got them. That's all I gotta say.
If you're gonna.
If you got them.
got 'em.
There was something you said too, Shay, about reality, and I found that pretty like interesting. Cause like, do you think any of these celebrities are really like in the same reality as you and
No.
I?
No.
They're not touching
They live in a
grass.
totally different world. After this is done and the cameras stop rolling, I could walk outside and nobody's gonna look at me twice.
Nope.
If I was like Kendrick Lamar, I'll go outside and people would ask me.
There
for
would
my
be a
signature.
security detail at the door right now or
Yeah.
watching behind
A
these cameras.
whole different world. You have to constantly be aware of your other persona when you're
Mhm.
outside. But that stuff can like rot your brain. Like, it'll change how you think, how you act. Like,
I've seen people act crazy behind a few hundred likes or a few thousand likes because they went viral one time. I'm like, dog.
They
like
change
stop
it.
moving like
Yeah.
that. Like what?
No, them likes don't change the fact you just failed that exam.
Oh
Like,
my God.
like back to reality. Like
Back
we
to
still
class
here.
tomorrow.
We still here. You're not
Yeah.
gonna graduate tomorrow because all of a sudden you Instagram famous.
Exactly.
Still the same person.
I feel like we all kind of live in our different realities.
Main character syndrome.
Yeah, it's so true. And then just like going back to like Kanye, he's even like before his fame, he already lived in a different reality because
Mm.
he has like he's bipolar, right?
Yeah, he's been
Yeah,
diagnosed
so-
according to him. Yeah, according to him.
I mean, but yeah,
Whatever
like
that
I feel
is.
like him having that like mental state or like condition, and then adding fame to it can
Yeah.
only
It
make it
exacerbates
worse.
it.
Yeah. So I don't
For
know.
sure.
I just feel like fame plus mental illness is definitely not a good.
Mm-mm. And fame can cause mental illness.
Yeah, and fame hides mental illness.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody-
And now like your episodes have an audience.
I forgot who said this, but it was someone who said like basically being famous as a child is a trauma.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
Olsen twins,
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan, Drew Barrymore,
Even
Olivia
Britney
Rodrigo.
Spears,
You can
even
say
Britney
Britney Spears for sure, bro.
Yeah.
She was gonna be the next person I sidestepped and spoke about because she's
Yeah.
had so much of her life taken from her
Mhm.
because of fame, and then her family being predatory with that conservatorship,
So
and her
lacking that
dad
support.
like
And also
lacking
her
support.
being like over sexualized as a teenager. as well.
Mhm.
Like that.
Wasn't she
Yeah.
like
Maybe they're
16
different.
doing
Yes,
that?
bro.
Doing that
The way she
video?
would have
Yeah.
been things is like different,
Yeah.
supernatural,
Mhm.
voice.
Because
Yeah,
they
that-
wanted to sexualize that. And talking about that makes me think of like who is like the white male equivalent to like Kanye. Because I know like, you know, there's a Britney Spears who's white and a woman, there's like, you know, black women who have been
That's a
traumatized in the
very
industry.
good question.
Who is like the white male equivalent
I think.
or equal?
No, like a person. Ooh, Charlie Sheen is a good one.
Oh,
That's a
shit.
good. That's a good potential parallel.
Charlie
That's a good
Sheen did
potential
do a couple
parallel.
of things, and
Considering, mind you, Kanye did not dabble in drugs and debauchery to the level Charlie Sheen did.
Yeah.
But in terms of just like being egomaniacs in their own right, yeah, that's a very good parallel you just drew. Damn.
Do you guys
Winning,
know-
y'all remember
Do
that?
you guys know Ezra Miller?
Ezra Miller, yo, what's going on with him right now? And the fact that the Flash has to be suspended until they take care of that.
I've heard a little.
What happened?
He's on some nut stuff, bro. Like, he's doing a lot.
But they done.
Oh, they're doing a lot right now. They're doing a lot.
But what's happening?
Shoot, it's not even
Oh, yeah,
worth
yeah,
divulging during
Yeah,
the
this is
pod because
right.
there's a lot of context that
Yeah.
needs to be granted to it
Just leave that
for it to be
alone.
properly spoken about.
Yeah,
The
but
one
back
has
to
to
Charlie
be-
Sheen though. Do
Mm.
y'all remember when he like called his wife the N-word like on a voicemail?
Oh yeah, hold up.
His
Charlie
wife
Sheen
is-
did that too.
Yes.
I know Mel Gibson did it.
Bro, Charlie Sheen did that, and his wife is like literally a white woman. Like y'all can look it up. I'm not gonna lie, it's hilarious. Like, it's so funny.
Yo.
because
nary a nigga
just out of
see it.
anger, like he was just like, damn, like what? Like what?
Damn, he had to pick the most vile insult he could hurl at her.
That's crazy. And I feel like
Even if it didn't
Yeah.
make sense, yo.
I kind of wanted to conclude with the question, like, is the whole, like, Kanye really, like, strived to make sure everybody knew what he's capable of? Do y'all think the fame, not only that he gets, but, like, fame in general, is worth it?
There's a thin line between fame and infamy, and all that will, and the main thing that will really determine that is the court of public opinion. Because you can look at Betty White; she was famous. If she would have had one slip up, something in her background, come out and say she was otherwise less holy than we saw her and knew her to be, now all of a sudden she's infamous. Insane.
I feel like that's just what fame is. You get all the support, but behind it,
It's real
you are
fickle.
ready to switch over.
It's real fickle.
If you act right, you get the support.
Mhm.
If you act how
According to
they
Yeah.
want you to
Do
act.
your little dance.
there's an
Sign
unwritten
his
rule book.
contracts.
people are
There's
ready.
an unwritten rule book that Kanye West has been breaking since he was on TV. Like
For
y'all,
real.
since he was on TV, like
But it's like he's so good. He can do whatever
He's
he wants.
undeniable,
Yay, bro,
He's
like-
undeniable. He's damn near omnipresent when it comes to pop culture.
he's been relevant forever. Like he's been relevant forever. Like how many other artists can you name that come from his era that are still as relevant as him?
Yup.
He's been relevant.
You could say
forever.
maybe Jay-Z, but he retired for a bit.
That's all
then
you
came
can
back.
say. Like, all you can say is Jay-Z.
You could say Nas, but he stopped for a minute and came back.
That's what I'm saying, but Kanye just been like the album's just been coming out and
Mhm.
people just been they've been charting, like I don't know. That's him for real, bro.
When you contribute like so much to the culture, people are willing to like excuse.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like bro, he made Through the Wire. He
yeah.
made All Falls Down.
Mhm.
I like Yeezys. You know, it's stuff
He
like
made
that.
Devil in a new dress. Though.
Like come on, bro. Like dang. Why the art
It's
gotta
also
be so good?
expanded with fashion and
Yeah.
everything else. So.
But his experience does not excuse his actions.
Yeah, his
We'll
behavior
say
is-
that.
has been
His behavior.
wild, out of pocket.
He definitely needs somebody to check him, but he doesn't think anybody could check him, not even Nike, pun intended, he said it. So,
He's been quiet recently.
allegedly. They probably took his phone away. But I don't think his silence is a good thing, because when he goes quiet, like the way LeBron does 0 Dark 30 in the playoffs,
Before the storm.
yo, he
Quiet before
goes
the storm?
crazy on Twitter.
Oh, man.
Like there's gonna be just a tirade he's gonna go
Thread,
on.
not even a thread. It's just gonna be sporadic.
Yep, just one-offs here and there, here and there, here and there, and then they're gonna have to get him out of here again.
Man,
I mean, the documentary was at least a bit optimistic. Like Coodie was
Very much so.
hopeful that someday Kanye
Someday. I think that's what it ended with. Oh my god, dog. Oh, that
Yeah,
album,
yeah.
Yay. Questionable, but some of the songs on there, man.
I like those 10. They have some good songs.
I think with that we could kind of conclude how definitely how interesting of a life Kanye lives, and definitely a lot to kind of take away from just that individual story, and there's just many other stories we kind of just don't know about too. But with that, that's another episode of